Hi everyone, this is Total War Therapy, and someone in the comment asked me to do a SKAVEN roster guides, units guides. So there is it. It will be very long. It will be a very long day because SKAVEN, it's a very complex and very varied race, probably the best in this way in all the game. So take a sit and let's begin. Before starting, of course, if you enjoy this kind of content, I please you to subscribe and tell me in the comment which faction you want me to do next. And sorry if the stats and ability are not in the black bar, but actually like other creators do, but every time I do it my computer crashes, so I just use in this way. But tell me if you strongly want the other way with the black bar, and in this case I will consider how to do it. Okay, let's start with the SKAVEN slaves. SKAVEN slaves are a very good unit, even in the late game, but mostly in the early mid, because they are a very good filler. They are easy to recruit, very cheap, and you can use them in for every situation to defend artillery, missile infantry, and so on. They are expendable, and it's very good since they have a very frequently low leadership. They will just run away and come back all the time, but for their role and for their price, they're probably one of the best cheap units in the game. They have anti-large with the spears version that will be kind of the same, but just with anti-large bonus and as always lower melee attack and bigger melee defense. Clan Rats, they are basically the upgraded version of the SKAVEN slaves. They are good at their job. In this case you can use them as a filler even in the late campaign. They do quite the same. They are shielded, so good against missile. They have a very big number because they are 160, and it's a lot, believe me. They are not expendable, so in this case, even if they have a very low leadership, you have to be careful to not let them run away that fast, maybe with a character in the nearby and so on. Be careful, but they're a very strong one. They have also a version with the spears. In this case I will mention them because they don't have only the anti-large bonus, but even the charge reflection and their charge defense, so they're actually quite better, a lot better with the large units. And yeah, you can use them as a front line, as a flankers. They're very versatile in this way, and they really deserve their prize. Warp grinders, I honestly don't use them a lot. They're very weird units. They're supposed to be good against building and against armor piercing kind of unit, but I mean, I cannot suggest them. They have a couple ability that can be strong, but they're very hard to use them. I mean, there are tricky units that I suggest only to very expert players that want to experiment and so on, but otherwise it's so hard to take out their value. Plague monks, they're a very good unit. I remember they had some poison effect, but apparently no. But they are frenzy. They have anti-infantry bonus. They're very good, as a second line if you want to take care of normally low armor infantry units that will attack your front line. I can suggest you to use them in thematic army, with the Plague Priest and so on. I like them, but they require a specific building in the high tier building, so they are hard to recruit, and when you finally can recruit them, they cannot be that useful anymore. Ancient Triads, they are a unit that actually on the card they are amazing. They're just amazing, but when you use them on the battlefield, they just lack in many cases. They have the stalk, so they're supposed to hide, but yeah, they have a low number, not that big. That's why even against large units, not that strong, they can they can barely destroy them, so be very careful with that. You're of course paying for the stalking and the vanguard deployment, the charge defense, the charge reflection, so there are many things you are paying for, but at the end they go down very easily, and it's hard to use them. I mean, you can trick your opponent that will try to flank you, and with the stalk at the end they will reveal and attack your the enemy cavalry and so on. But believe me, I cannot suggest you. That runners, like triads, they have the stalking, the vanguard deployment, a little of physical resistance, and yes, they are fast. You can use them to flank the enemy, to hide in the wood, in the forest, and then attack the artillery. Oh, I won, and so on. But yeah, these are good actually, because they, instead of the plague monks, they have infantry with armor piercing, and you can even recruit with the basic military building, not the advanced one. So I suggest you to use them instead of plague monks, even if they are less thematic, and they have this very cute ability that will reduce the armor of the enemy, even if they have armor piercing attack. So quite confusing, but still very good. Storm Vermin, they are quite the elite armored infantry for SKAVEN. They are good, they have a very big number, still 160, even if they are a high tier of infantry. They do their job, they are an upgraded version of clown rats, but very strong. They're very armored, and believe even if they don't look like, you will still consider them kinda low, weak infantry. They are quite strong. They have a big number, big armor, and good stats. So use them properly. Probably you don't need to fill your army with a lot of them, but yeah, they have a lot of leadership. They're not SKAVEN. Plague Monk, Chancellor Bearers, these are very good units. As I say, they were more useful in the at the release of SKAVEN, when the roster was not so varied and completed, so you actually needed some kind of armor piercing infantry. They have a big number, they have good leadership and a lot of attack. They have even the ability that lowered the leadership, and yeah, I even remember they had some poison effect, but okay, I don't know why. They're immune to psychology, they have frenzy, they are quite good, and in a thematic army with plague priests and so on, they are very cool. You have to use them in your second line. They are not as a front line, they can be weak, they have very little armor, and even with a little of physical resistance, very little. You have to cover them, you have to protect them. You cannot make them stand against the opponent army. Stormvein Albert, these are very strong. They are the elite anti-large infantry units of SKAVEN. They have a big defense, an anti-large bonus, charge reflection, charge defense. They are incredible to do the role. They are not such good as a front line, so just keep them as a flankers, or just in the rear guard to help if some kind of monsters or big cavalry attack your weak units, and in that way they can be very strong. Okay, let's start with the missile units of SKAVEN. As you know, SKAVEN about missile infantry, mostly it's very complex, very complicated, and there are so many units that honestly, even if my many SKAVEN campaigns, some of them I didn't even use them a lot. So let's go. SKAVEN Slave Slingers, they're the basic, they're the slaves, so like we were using the slaves before, in the same way. They're very annoying, they do just no damage, but they are annoying in the long term, and or against units with really no armor. They can be a little useful, but they're just more annoying than everyone. It's more when you fight against them than when you use them. Okay, when you use them, you realize they don't do anything. But when you play against them, they're just, oh my god, you just want to kill all of them. Night Runners. Even in this case, we have the Night Runners with normal, and the Night Runners with slings, where the difference are basically. Oh, I won again. The difference is a lot about the different range weapon. In this case, they will be actually. I think the slings are the strongest at everything. They're little less stronger, but no, sorry. The Night Runners can fire while moving, even if they have a very lower range. So you can use them as a skirmish, and instead the with slings, and this will be the same for the units that we will talk later. It's like that, but you have to be careful because of course they cannot fire while moving, so they are like normal missile infantry, even if they don't do that kind of big damage. Warp Fight Throwers, these are a very good unit. Like the dwarves Iron Drakes, you can just put them in the middle of your front line, well protected of course, maybe even with the character and or a hero, melee hero in general, and they can just destroy entire units with very few ammunition. They have a very low range, so take always in consideration that, but yeah, they do an impressive amount of damage. They will annihilate everything they will find in front, but yeah, be careful because they have a low number, they can be very weak, and some kind of fast units, even light cavalry, can very easily take them down. And I mean, unlike Iron Drakes, they are not that armor with they have a very poor defense, so be very careful, but they will be the units across all your army that will deal the most amount of damage, you can believe. Poison Wind Globadiers. Honestly, I don't use them a lot, but they can be quite good. They are magical units that you can put basically in the second line and just throw this little globe to the enemy, and then you can use them to attack. They don't have a very bad melee stats, but yeah, they're kinda hybrid units, very complex to use, so I honestly cannot suggest for new players, just for expert if you want to experiment and so on. Good Terran Slingers, there are 4 versions of them. There are the Slingers, then there are the Poison Slingers, and I mean many things like that. And yeah, they're basically the same as we say before, like so with fire was moving some, the other no. And yeah, they are stalk that can be very useful because yeah, they can just flank the enemy or sneak around the fortress and so on, and they can be quite annoying in your opponent army, and even to use them, I mean, but you have to babysit them a lot. They are very weak, and yeah, it's confusing. I don't get which one is what, so be careful and use them properly, and they will give you some satisfaction. Rattling Guns, they are units that actually I really don't, I mean, it's too much. It's too much. I mean, it's like a joke for SKAVEN, but they actually exist in the you know, workshop roster, so we accept them. They are very strong. They have not such a big range, but still they can do their job quite good for I mean, SKAVEN army. They have this ability that lower the speed of your opponents, so very strong, and the damage they do, it's impressive. They have a very bad melee stats, so always be careful, protect them with monsters, characters, and so on. But yeah, they have strong units with a good arch, and yeah, be careful to not put them in the front line, in the second line, but in the front line, because they need you know, to have direct sights of the enemy. Deathclaw Bombardier. They are the same version of the one we talked before, but instead of poison they have armor piercing damage. They're still, as I said before, hard to use, but they can give you some satisfaction if you want to experiment. Put them in the second line, not in the first, and when you finish your ammunition, or I mean in general, then you can use them in the melee way. Werplock Jet Sails. I do not remember the complete name. They're very good units, one of my favorite of SKAVEN. They even made the version for Cathay for how cool they were. They have a low number, as you know, all these missile SKAVEN units, infantry units, so be careful to protect them and so on. You need them a clear range. They have a very high range, but they need the clear side, so put them in the front line, even, you know, on the side, well protected, but yeah, be careful with them. They are very strong, and you can use them. While rattling guns, they are, I mean, useful against everything, even infantry. In this case, they are better against large or characters. And yeah, if there are some kind of key big monster single entity units in your opponent army, they will be the guy that will take it down. So they're very useful. Poisoned Wind Mortars. Even this, we can say they are freakily strong units. They are basically mortars but infantry. They have even a lower number than the other missile infantry, so be very careful with them. They are the one they are basically artillery. Okay, so think about an artillery piece. They are weak like that, and they need the same kind of babysitting like that, but they will basically release this bomb that will hit the enemy units and destroy them like a mortar, basically like a mortar. And I love them. I love them because unlike the one we talked before, they don't need the clear sight. I mean, you can put them in the front line, in the third line, don't worry, they have a very big range and they're wonderful. Okay, now we can start with the monsters, with the beast of the SKAVEN. They are almost all new edition, and the first one is the wolf rats. They actually completely changed the game style of SKAVEN in the battlefield, because before they didn't have quite fast units. I mean, they had some, but they were not that fast, and we will talk about them later. So they changed everything, because now SKAVEN had a way to you know, chase your enemy going away, you know, your fleeing enemy, and yeah, just flank artillery and so on. So they change everything. They are good for their role. They're actually quite strong. They're the version with armor piercing damage, and then there is the version with poison damage. You just decide, I mean, what you need more, if your opponent is more armored or less. And yeah, strong. They have they can just hide in the forest, flank or sneak around the back of your enemy, hit missile artillery very fast, and yeah, a very good unit in whichever kind of army. The old but god rat ogres, they are here since the release, and yeah, they do their job. They are basically a monsters infantry, but basically monsters that can hit hard from the front line or from the flank your opponents. You have just to protect them till the, you know, the game actually starts, and in that case let them charge against your enemy. They will destroy the infantry. They have armor piercing damage, so don't worry to use them even against armored infantry enemy. And yeah, they do their job. You have to be careful, of course, anti-large, and I mean, things that you already know, I don't have to mention. And yeah, they can be quite strong and very helpful, very versatile. You can use them any kind of army you're making, so don't worry, they're very good. A couple of them, it's always a must. Broad Horror, very cute. It's a fast unit. Before was anti-large. I don't know why many stats just change. I didn't remember that. Okay, he has the regeneration, that it's a very useful stats. What you have to know about him that's more important, it's a single entity, so use it as big monsters like always. But be careful, because it will not do a big amount of damage to big group of enemy, like infantry and so on. They are stronger against characters or against other monsters, against cavalry and so on. But don't waste it with units, with infantry units, that it's the first things that you think to do, because believe me, it doesn't have this big splash attack and so on. So be careful about how to take out the best value from it. Mutant Rat Ogre, a very good unit too. It was added with the Broad Horror, so it's more the version, in this case against a big group of infantry, not character. I mean, he can be used even in that way, but yeah, it will do his best job against a big group of infantry as a tank, and white's attacking. Oh my god. See, I'm not good at doing this kind of things. Okay, let's talk about the Hell Pit Abomination. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to have more a clear side, but okay. He's anti-large single entity monster. He's very strong. He has regeneration and can be a huge pain in the, you know, when your opponent has it. It's very strong, very big, fast, quite fast to be a monster. You have to be careful about fire and anti-large and so on, but normally it will do his job. As I said, being an anti-large, even if it's quite strong against infantry, you should use it basically more against cavalry, other monsters and characters and so on, and it will do an amazing job. Doom Flayers, they are as many SKAVEN units. They are stronger when your opponent has it than you. They have armor piercing anti-infantry damage. They have a big charge, even if not that good, and they get more armor when they are in melee. So when they are in melee, they are quite indestructible and very annoying, as I say, when your opponent has it. I don't know honestly how to use them in the best way. I still struggle to, even the model is very cool. And yeah, basically you have just to charge around your enemy. You have to remember that when they've been added to the game, there were not many fast options for SKAVEN, so they will kind of you know, compromise. So not that fast, not a big charge, a very low number, but still useful because they were unique. Now with the wall threats and everything, they lost a little of the use, but still, you know, you can charge enemy, you can hit big, I mean, very armored infantry, and they can do a quite good job, but as a support. Okay, they cannot just charge and stay there. They have to charge, go away, let your infantry engage with the other melee. I mean, engage in melee and then attack again. You know, a little of babysitting, and they will do their job. Doom will. Maybe I should have used this as a SKAVEN cover. This is another very weird and complex unit. It's a very high tier unit, and that's why it's not that. I mean, it's inexplicable why it's so hard to use it, because it's supposed to be a single entity. He has this range missile attack that I can tell you that it will not deal this big damage, and I mean, it's even hard to use. I mean, it's not an artillery piece. This missile power, you have to use them while it charges, and yeah, like that. As you can see, there are very few ability. The coaster that can be useful, but I don't know. Yeah, you basically charge. You have to basically charge a big group of armored infantry and then go away. Sometimes with character it can be helpful for the charge, the mass, and so on. But still, I mean, for that price and for that tier, is not a unit I use a lot. It's more for a thematic than an actually efficiency in the battlefield. But yeah, many people say that it's stronger than it looks like, but yeah, even if my very long experience with SKAVEN, I still struggle to use it in the perfect way. Okay, let's end everything with artillery. SKAVEN has two kinds of artillery: the plague cloak catapults that you have to put them in, yeah, of course, in the second, third. Plague catapult now have been attacked by some Norscan, so sorry. And we are starting with the artillery. You can put them in your I mean, second line, third line, and so on. They are an artillery catapult like you can expect to do. So be careful, protect it, and they have a very big range, so don't worry about that. And they do quite a good damage. I mean, if you compare it to other catapults, they are quite good. They can lower the leadership, and yeah, just approved. Warp lighting cannons, we should give them a little more attention, because compared to their you know, the other version of cannons all around the game, they're very good. They're taller, just taller, and that's why you can put them even in the second and third line, and this is so helpful. If you think that cannons of vampires, dwarves, vampire coast, you have to put it in the front line or in the side and can be dangerous, them no, you can just put them in the, just don't have a monster in front of them. But if you I mean, you don't need a clear side because they are taller, just taller. Very helpful. They are of course better against large units, monsters, character, not infantry. But even as a flankers, if you put you know, in the flank, they can they have a good penetration, so they can do a good job even with the infantry. But yeah, basically monsters and so on. We finish the roster here. I will just go back to the to my Doom wheel to get a proper cover for this video. Thank you for joining me, and bye bye.